welcome to the show, Wen. It's great to see your smiling face. This is the home office.
Yeah.
We're working on a Javanese old desk here, or made from an old houses in Java, Indonesia. So that's the new desk. Yeah. So how are you? You're at your office, home office.
Yes, actually here's in my home office and this is where I've been working most of the time lately. Because actually the clients just like don't want to go to our office anymore for some reason. They just wanna you go to our office, you know. So I spend so much time in my home office instead of our office, like which actually only one block away from my building. So I
All
can
right.
literally walk to that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how's cabin fever? I certainly feel a little bit. So how's cabin fever for you?
I think it's I think I've still feel very great. Even with these days, actually, we have a little bit more time to work on the business instead of being in the business, which is great.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to share all the details about my journey with you. And obviously, I'm very excited to be on the show today.
Okay.
And I've checked out your podcasts, and they're great. You know, all these great entrepreneurs, and I'm so happy to be part of your show.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your story. I know already a lot about it because we've caught up over the years and we've become good friends. So I'm looking forward to diving a little deeper and sharing some of your secret sauce to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I can't wait to
So,
share.
so what I'll do is I'm just going to pause before I introduce you. So,
Mm.
hi everyone, and welcome to the Jeff Buller Show. Today I have with me Huyen Truong. Now, Wen I've known for quite a few years, and she is an incredible success story and a great example of how to actually succeed in three different countries. So I'm going to tell a little bit about Wen, and then we're going to have a bit of a fireside chat. So Huyen Truong has lived and worked in three different countries, actually continents, but was born
Continent.
and raised, yes, in Vietnam in a poor working class family during the centralized economy period of the 1980s. It was a tough period back then. And her first entrepreneurial experience was when she started selling candy when she was 5. So she could buy some treats for herself. So she started young. Her parents were able to send her to university in the USA during the financial crisis of 2008 to 2010. And she graduated from the University of Missouri, Columbia, and then she moved to Australia with no job, money, family or friends, and over $100,000 in student debt. So Wen has gone on to become one of the top digital marketing lead generators in the world of cosmetic and plastic surgeons. She has a special interest in the aesthetic industry, and you're looking very glamorous today, Wen, by the way. I feel a
Thank
little
you.
underdressed in your presence, but that's okay. And so she has a special interest in the aesthetic industry and a deep passion for helping cosmetic and plastic surgeons around the world to thrive and achieve great success in their practices. And you can actually find Wen at her website if you want to check it out later, onlinemarketingfordoctors.com.au. So an AU, for those of you who don't know, stands for Australia. So there may be even is there a .com one, Wen?
Yes, there's .com version. We're converting our .com.au to a .com website. It's going to be global website, not just for Australia.
Yeah, that's why I was raising it. So so welcome to the show, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And we're going to dive in a little bit into your journey, both in life and in business. So you're originally from Vietnam, okay? So that's
Yes.
uh, a country well known globally. And
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about growing up in Vietnam, because I've actually never been to Vietnam. And tell us a little bit about what that was like growing up in Vietnam and your first entrepreneurial experience.
Well, I guess you probably mentioned in the intros, I was born in during the time the Vietnam was going through decentralized economy time. So it's obviously very tough growing up because my parents had to go through different jobs or different businesses to put food on the table. So it's not like not like a normal kid in Western world. We didn't really have a proper education. You see what I mean? Like I just went to village school, which is around the corner where we used to live, and I basically just, you really have very basic education, and not until my parents was able to save a little more money to send me to the US so I can gain some more proper education. That's how tough the situation is. So back then when growing up as a kid, I didn't know what chocolate is. So it's like, like only treats that normal kids would have, and I didn't have that sort of luxuries. And I didn't have my first birthday until I got to the age of 8 years old.
Right.
So it's not so I didn't get to experience a lot of stuff that normal kids would have
Yeah.
in their life. And but that's the beauty of that. So I appreciate life more than normal people would do. So every little thing that I've got now, I really appreciate the whole thing,
Yeah.
going up. Yeah.
So yeah, it's great that you had that contrast, because then you don't take what you have today for granted. You,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And so your first entrepreneurial experience at the age of 5, so you sold candy. So what sort of candy was that?
Well, candy was a rare commodity then, like back then, even rice was a rare thing. People didn't have enough food, like candy is a rare thing. And my parents were trading candies from Thailand to Vietnam. So I saw that they got some leftover stock, and I decided to ask my parents if I can sell this one to all these kids in the areas that I was, living in. And I made some profits, and I started selling many different things, small things here and there, just to get some cash and to buy things that I wanted when I was a kid. Yeah, and I really enjoy the idea of selling things for profits. And I think the entrepreneurship actually started really early, and seeing my parents. Doing business over the years is also another life lessons, and I took, I was being inspired by their journey, and that's when, I don't know when it started, but I guess that was the age of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So things are pretty tough early on, but mum and dad persisted and started to become quite successful. Tell us a little bit about your observation of that and what happened there, because you obviously got to get to America eventually. So tell
Yeah.
us about, so what was your parents' journey a little bit? I think that's interesting. I'll give you a bit of
Yeah,
context
it's
as
very
well.
interesting because they are typical entrepreneurs. Like they've been through different type of businesses, that I couldn't even count the number of business they went through. And the thing about them is that they never gave up. And finally, they found a breakthrough when they was in their late 40s, when
Right.
a lot of people at their age started thinking about retirement already, but they didn't give up until they found something. And now they're running a multi-million dollars business, and they're still very much enjoying doing business over there.
Hmm.
And so that's what I learned from them. Is a good old persistent word. I
Hmm.
mean, I learned that nothing in this world can take the place of a good old persistent talent one, education one, genius one. It's all about persistence and the drive that take you where you want to be.
Right. So mum and dad are doing a bit better, and obviously that gave them the opportunity and the means to actually then send you to America. So did you do an undergraduate degree in Vietnam?
Yes, actually, I spent my bachelor degree in Vietnam, and then I actually I had to work on my English to be ready for America. And I moved to America pretty much right after I finished I gained some several years working experience in digital marketing. So I started my digital marketing journey actually very early in 2000, early 2000s. And that's when as soon as I finished my bachelor degree, I went on and started selling digital banners and PR advertising.
Hmm.
And I have always been on digital marketing track ever since. So I've got almost, what I say, probably almost 20 years, like 16 years, but I rounded up to 20 years
Right.
experience in digital marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite a long time. There's been a lot changed in that time, hasn't there, since 2000?
Yeah.
to
So
2020.
much changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Facebook didn't even exist in 2000.
Yeah.
I think,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, actually, I started selling, banner ads on popular websites, and Google actually started, um, Google Ads actually just start being on the market back then in 2000, so 2003, 2004, yeah, and I think they didn't really come as a like one of our, like a solution to business back then until probably 2005.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's when I started doing more Google Ads and stuff like that ever since.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done your degree, and which city was that in Vietnam that you did the degree at? Was it?
Hanoi, the
It was.
capital of Vietnam.
It was in Hanoi. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what was the call like? Going why go to America to do? Because you went to America to do your MBA, didn't you?
Yes, I did my MBA in America, and yeah, it's all actually one thing I knew that I wanted to do. Actually, I always want to be overseas, and I want to go to America to obviously to better my education. Right, I
Hmm.
was aware that I didn't have the best education that I had growing up, in the village school. That's why I thought, well, I have to make up for that, and I obviously have a clear idea that I want to go to America to get really the best education I could possibly have.
Hmm.
Um, and I made it happen, and completing my MBA, and then work a little bit in San Francisco, and then obviously, you know, um, that back then the America was actually going through the GFC from 2008 to 2010, and lots of people didn't have jobs, and that's quite unfortunate time for students like us graduating from MBA program and couldn't find a job. So unlike my classmates who still be there and they're still there, and I decided to give up what I call American dream,
Okay.
and to stay back in America and pack my bag and move to Australia.
So Australia, why did you choose Australia? Like, but Australia's on the other side of the world. I know because I live there. We both live there now. So I was born here. Um, so why Australia?
Well, Australia, like don't know why, when I was like 15 years old, and I remember seeing a picture of the Sydney Harbour Bridge in one of my friend's house, and I look at the pictures and it looks really beautiful pictures like a Sydney Harbour, and I look at that and say, wow, someday I'll be there. And I just thought in myself, just instant, it's just a small thought, and finally I just everything was connected, all the dots are connected, and one day it's just I want to take a trip to Australia to see how it's like. And I think between the time 2 years in America, I took a break to do my internship, and I went to Australia and have a great time there. And after graduating from my MBA program, and with my decision of not staying back in the US, and I thought, well, what would be the next place I would love to be? And Australia obviously is my top choice because I love people over there, and actually I worked for an Australian company before going to US, so I got to enjoy the friendliness of people, and I love working with them. So I thought, well, I got to be there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made the effort, and so I caught up with you shortly after you got here. I think like I was we I think we met in 2012. I
Yeah,
think
we
it's
met in 2012, literally, I think 14 months after I arrived Australia.
mm,
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to meet you very in the early days of my journey in Australia.
yeah. It's been great to get to know you over that time, and see your journey. And I'm and you've been incredible success, and also for me, just watching your journey and your success, um, it's amazing. It really is. You've come to the other side of the world on your own, no friends, $100,000 in student loan debt. Um, sure, you've done a little bit of a reconnaissance of Australia before you came over here. So, so
Yeah.
so you decided to start a business just doing search marketing. That was one of your first areas you worked on, wasn't it?
Yes. Exactly. So I tell you the story. When I first came to Australia, literally the second day when I came to Australia, after I came, I stepped in on Australia. I went to see my career advisor from the UTS University. So I had to enroll a Master of Marketing degree from University of Technology Sydney to get student visa to stay in Australia. So I met with a career advisor from UTS University where I enrolled to do my master degree in marketing. And she asked me this question that, what do you want to do? And I told her that I want to be one of the leading digital marketing agency in Australia.
Mhm.
And I have no idea how to make it happen. I didn't have any connection. I don't have any family, friends or anyone here. But I knew deep down inside that I will make that happen. I asked her for the alumni contacts from UTS to see if there is any opportunity for me to land the first job.
Mhm.
So she helped me, to basically get me some contacts, and I reached out to these people, and I found my first consulting job with one of the UTS alumni, and that's
Okay.
well, things started from there. So from that one clients, and then I started landing more clients from that one first clients that I got.
Yeah. So digital marketing. So you were focusing more on search engine marketing. So that's basically, could you explain a little bit to, because a lot of people are watching this are not that technical and not digital marketers, they may be business people um,
Yeah.
or want to be an entrepreneur. So tell me a little bit so search engine marketing, what does that involve? Could you explain it simply?
Well, so digital marketing is quite a big areas, but what we do mainly is obviously search engine optimization. So optimizing the website to be ranking highly on search results on Google
Yeah.
Maps. I think a lot of people are familiar with Google Maps. So that area is local SEO, and the results below that is organic SEO. So there's three areas of SEO: organic SEO and local SEO.
Mm-hmm.
And then search marketing is also includes the paid advertising as well. So those are the advertising that say on top of the search results when you search for something like, for example, restaurants near me and stuff like that. um, yeah, so those are two main area. But now search marketing expands to content marketing as well.
Yeah.
So you doing a lots of content marketing. You probably know this very well. Content marketing is a key, driver of like all the web marketing, because content is like currency, like for the online business. People know and like and trust you through your content, so it's very important to have a solid strategic content marketing on your website.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
you got into digital marketing with quite a focus on search engine marketing,
yeah,
and I remember that you're wanting to. You said you wanted to be one of the top digital marketing companies in Australia, but
yeah,
you started to discover that it was incredibly crowded. There was all these
yeah.
SEO, search engine marketing companies arose, didn't they? And then you had this competition from overseas to do it
Mm,
cheaply. You basically had teams of people in India doing it. You had
yeah,
teams in Australia doing it. We had teams in Vietnam doing it.
yeah,
So you had global competition. So you
yeah.
made a pivot out of that because that original company was called, what was it? The
Result driven SEO.
Result Driven SEO. So
Yeah,
you made a very conscious decision to get out of just general and get into more niche, as they say in American, niche.
yeah.
So, um, so you saw all this competition. So why did you choose, medical doctor marketing or that niche, as well as plastic surgeons? Why did you choose that?
Oh, well, I'd love to tell you a story. So when I started out, offer obviously digital marketing services to all sort of different businesses, right? From toy sellers to beauty salons to rubbish removal companies. So all sort of different businesses. And then I realized that the competition is too tough. And I asked myself, like, how am I able to compete with all these giant agencies and be somebody instead of right now? I'm honestly, I was back then, I was like, I'm nobody, right? Compared to all this like giant pool of competitors, not just within Australia, but internationally. So obviously, I don't want to be a Me Too agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one time I went to meet with one of potential clients who's actually doing digital marketing agency, but their focus is on building websites for dead people. Have you heard that? So it's very interesting for dead people, for funeral houses.
Oh, right. Okay.
So when people die, actually, their loved ones, they actually would like to build a website for their passed away, loved ones. And what a incredible niche, and they're doing incredibly well. They have offices around the world, and they have solid stream of new business coming through. And say, wow, these people are doing very well, just focusing on one niche.
Mm-hmm.
And that meeting was like an eye-opening experience for me. And the morning after, I came up immediately with something great. And the rest was actually history. Now we obviously like one of the top lead generator for cosmetic and plastic surgeon around the world. And we actually help plastic surgeon double, even triple their patient inquiries in 6 months. And we're building our reputation around being the queen of cosmetic marketing. And obviously I always like aesthetic, I'm interested in design, interested in beauty, and I think this is a natural marriage between digital marketing, medical. I'm interested in medical, anything about health and medical I'm interested in. So beauty, health, and digital marketing, what a wonderful combination. And that's how I found my passion. And after 1 year of coming up with that idea, our agency's growth was like 166%, and we hit a seven
Wow.
figure revenue in less than 3 years after we launched that agency.
So obviously, so the aesthetic industry, beauty, I know you love good clothes.
Yeah.
And so it obviously came out of a passionate interest in that area. So, and then you just decided to just really focus on that niche. And
Yeah, yeah.
so tell us a little bit about what sort of journey you would take a client on, because you're talking to plastic surgeons who have no idea. And this is pretty normal. A lot of businesses have no idea what search engine marketing is or what content marketing is. They might know, well, I maybe need to do a Facebook ad or something. So what are some of the steps that you would take a client on? Because you've got to educate them as well. I know you've got to
Yeah.
create a lot of content as well. So take me through a little bit of the journey that you would take the doctors on.
Well, it's very simple actually. When I talk to clients, I really want to keep it really simple to our clients. And usually I talk with them like on a high level point of view,
Mm-hmm.
because on the technical detail, they don't need to know. They just need to know how we're going to achieve that. And we usually talk about their market positioning, their market segmentation, the overarching marketing strategy, and
Mm-hmm.
all the implementation will be falling in place. So unlike other agency who you just ask them question like what keywords you want to rank for or what services you want to promote, we don't ask that question. We usually ask them, who do you want to be? Do you want to be, how do you want to be perceived in your target audience? Like eyes or minds, because a lot of them have no idea how they want to perceive in their target audience
Mm-hmm.
mind. They just say, oh, I want to do all sort of different procedures, pretty much like a typical business owners. I want to sell the products to everyone. Everyone is my target audience, and actually everyone is not your target audience. When you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So it's very critical for me to work with the clients in terms of working out who's their target audience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be laser focused on that, because your wealth is actually direct proportion with how well you know your target audience. The more you know about your target audience, the better you can come up with a message and content that relevant to them and resonate with them, and they connect with them, and then we can we can open their hearts and their wallets. So so we always talk about, who's the target audience. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a lead, like a leading surgeon in facial surgery, in facelift, or do you want to king of breast surgery, king of boobs? So you want to be like a mummy makeover wizard, like you have to be somebody, and I just ask that sort of question. So it's just easier for them to answer than all these technical questions. Huh?
So you must be taking people on a bit of a journey then, in terms of even getting them to focus. Is that correct? Like, so you're going, okay, so you want to be a specialist in facial surgery. Was that really what you're good at and what they're passionate about? So you're actually helping them really get laser focused as well.
Mm-mm.
So
yeah
so
because that's just something that's happening, I think, over my journey of running business, and I talk to many business owners, and that's something that they usually have a problem with, is to be able to identify who they are, who they want to be, and who do you want to sell their services or solutions or products to. And that's the key question that they need to answer from the business and marketing point of view, not just digital marketing. Digital marketing is such a tool for them to reach their target audience, but they need to answer the key question when it comes to business and marketing.
okay, so you've got them focused, you've taken them on a journey saying, okay, so you're going to be the king of facial surgery, king or queen. So in other words, that's your focus, Mark. So what are the next steps after that? So you've got them laser focused. They're going to want to be the best in facial, beauty surgery.
Obviously, so I think positioning is very important in any business. And if you notice any luxury brands out there, they've done very good job in terms of positioning, market positioning. And after having a positioning set with my clients, so what I'm going to do next is actually build up the authority and expertise for them through the content marketing. So again, we're coming back to content marketing, how powerful it is. So starting with the website, right? If they want to be perceived as king of boobs, for example, well, you have to communicate that message through the website. To everything they're doing, every pieces of content, they have to communicate that key message to their target audience. And starting with website, the content on there, and also all the other lead magnet type of content. If some of you don't know what lead magnets is, it's basically a piece of content that you give to prospects in exchange for their contact information. For example, an ebook or special report or webinar. Or a physical printed book. So that's called lead magnet. And even through that type of content, you need to establish your expertise and authority through every little piece of information or content that you're producing on your website. So that's what we're having them. So we have creating all this content for them to build up their authority and expertise.
So you're using a lot of, so you're doing a lot of things like ebooks. It might be a template. It might be a landing page. So what's the other one I've noticed you focus on a fair bit is, and you do it for your own site as well, as video marketing, which is another piece of content. Just talk us through a little bit about what you do in the video and why that's important, you think.
Well, video is actually the future of digital marketing. And I think by 2020, 80% of people consuming content on internet is actually through video. So video is how people connect with you. So that's why we always suggest our client to focus on their video. And with video content, you actually can recycle and use that for podcasts, and you can repurpose the content for the blog articles. So one piece of content you can reuse and recycle that for many different platforms on your website. And with video, you can connect with your prospect visually, right? And they can hear your voice and they can see you and connect with you. And no matter where you are in this world, either you're in America right now being locked down, or in Africa. We actually, I have subscribers to my email list or my video channels from people from Mexico, or South America, Peru, obviously America, UK, Europe, all sort of different countries. And that's how video can help you reach out to all these people, from all sort of different corners of this world.
Yeah. So you're using, so as we know, but a lot of people maybe don't, is that content is used as, like you said, the currency, because you're creating content that's going to be optimized for the keywords and the laser focus that the surgeon or the doctor's wanting to focus on. So, and of course, the better your content and the more of it and the higher quality and the optimization you have, that allows that to be found on search engines. So how important is being found on search engines for people in terms of their marketing, especially for doctors and small business?
I think for any business, it's very important to get found. If you create a great piece of content, whatever it is, but nobody sees that, what's the point, right? So creating content is one thing, but promoting that is equally or even more important. So promoting your content is very important, and I think lots of people underestimate the importance of how important it is when it comes to promoting your content. So, and also how to get your content found and seen by your target audience. Okay, so that's very important, and I think that's the key thing, is that there's a 3 question in marketing that you need to answer. I think the first thing, or even when it comes to any piece of content that you producing, so the first one is who is your target audience? Where are they hanging out? Are they hanging out online, offline? And the third question is, how do you get your message seen by your target audience? If you can answer these 3 questions, I think you'll be doing marketing very well.
Yeah. So you're really recommending that people not only create content, and you talked about what the 3 important things with search engine marketing, which is the cornerstone of what you do for the client, because you want them to be found locally, because in other words, for example, Sydney, facial surgery, or Sydney, whatever,
liposuction Sydney, liposuction Melbourne.
Okay. And then the other hand then is the importance of actually paying for doing some paid advertising as well to actually get some traction. So
because paid advertising.
So how much, what would you recommend to people to do paid advertising? So there's Facebook, there's Google, there's Instagram. It's a very confusing and a very big landscape now. Like 10 years ago, Facebook didn't even offer advertising. Google did. So what are some of the things you'd recommend to businesses in terms of paid advertising that you've experienced success with?
I think digital marketing landscape has been changing so much for the last few years, especially in recent years, especially the changes that Google has made on the algorithm or on the search results, that actually literally pushes the use of more paid advertising to be more successful. So we've run a lot of testing with our clients' account, and some clients, we just run paid advertising only, just paid advertising purely, not even SEO, and they're still getting traction with the investment they putting in, and they're getting good results. So paid advertising actually is getting more and more important. Unfortunately, so I think that's the game Google is trying to put here. Obviously they're trying to get more people pay for advertising. And that's the trend you have to follow. And we see really good results with paid advertising.
Yeah, I think certainly there's a future, and I've even had a discussion with my team recently saying I think we're approaching the end, or not the end, but we're approaching a pivot point where organic search results are becoming less important. It's very much becoming pay to play. And also there's so much competition organically to rank on the first page of Google. And so The reality is, I think we're moving
Exactly.
very much into paid digital advertising. Organic is just so tough these days. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And that's why, getting into a niche or a niche is really, really important, because it's easier to rank locally in a niche, isn't it, than generally
Yeah.
globally. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I certainly
So
agree with you.
yeah, when it comes to paid advertising, though, there's a common mistake that people are doing is to sell the service on the ad copies. So if you see lots of ad copies that the people put in, they tend to look quite the same. Like, for example, buy now or book appointment, or just like, it's like proposing marriage after the first date, right?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
nobody is gonna buy from seeing your ads. They're not gonna buy from that. They gotta click through the ads and look at what you're offering and to see if you're convincing enough. And even not even like, you still have to follow up after that. So you need to come up with a sales funnel process. So the purpose of the ad is to sell the click. So basically your ad purpose is to get people click on your ads, not to get people book an appointment or buy from seeing your ads. And then after they land on the website or landing page, you need to provide information that's attractive and convincing enough for them to make an inquiry. But a lot of time, or maybe 95% of the time, people are not ready to make a commitment on making an inquiry yet. They're still shopping around, right?
Yep.
And then that's how lead magnet comes into play. That's when you can capture the information and continue to follow up with them after they leave your website, because 95, even up to 98% of the time, people will leave your landing page, you will leave your website without inquiring.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to come up with something really attractive to keep, at least to get their information before they leave.
Yeah, that's a very important point, when people need to discover you first. So then you need to actually educate them and start
Yeah,
building
exactly.
trust. And
Mm.
as you've very well said, that a lot of people try and sell straight away.
So
So,
yeah.
yeah. So the reality is, number one, I need to have your attention. Then I need to create trust and credibility. And that's where the role of content comes in as we take people on the journey. And the thing is, a lot of
Yeah.
people see the funnel for marketing, where you get a click, they come through, it's like a straight line. But as we know, it's more a matrix than a funnel. It's really,
Yeah.
they'll come in, they'll do a little bit of education, they've now got your aware of your name. They'll then maybe know who you are, then they can go and Google search you, they come back, they'll look at more content, they'll look at your references and reviews and case studies.
Exactly.
So, and then we're getting closer to where they're going to pick up the phone or send you an email to the doctor going, look, I really would like an appointment. But that's one, it's quite a journey, it's convoluted. And the challenge in any marketing is knowing, where did the first click or inquiry come from? Was it a video? Was it a Facebook ad? Was it a Google ad? So yeah, it's a valid point. I think people understand that you need to get their attention first. Then you need to start to create that trust. And a lot of time, and that's the role of content. That role of content is to create that trust over time till they get to a point going, I'm ready to actually make contact. And I've heard some of the numbers in the past is that up to 60 to 80% of the journey, the business has not aware that this customer's actually already been educated, looked at your site, looked at your content until they do it. So, and that's what we have today with online marketing, is that no one's, before there was the yellow pages. Now it's a journey which is quite often invisible, and the only way we can track that is with data, and that's why testing becomes quite important. So
yeah, I totally agree, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of content marketing to all sort of different businesses. We have clients who I have a call with them, and I close very important, like a really big contract over the phone without meeting with them in person, because they check out my content, they listen to my podcast, they download my ebook, and they check all the reference on my LinkedIn, on my Google, Google My Business list, everything for inquiry. So, you have got to provide excellent content so you can sell more easily. So I don't have to do all this hard sell and try and convince them that I'm the best. I'm already demonstrated to them that we've done very well with our marketing, even all the content producing and all the case study we've done for our clients. So they already sold before calling me. So it's very important with content marketing, and the thing with content marketing is it's not cheap, right? It's time consuming, and also it requires a lot of, again, persistence and dedication from you as an owner, and so your team as well.
Yeah. And yet that states a very important point in that a lot of people aren't prepared to play the long game, because creating content is not something, great content is not something that's done overnight. And I think you
Yeah.
mentioned the fact that you started to get some real traction, yes, in the first year, but it wasn't until like 3 years in that you really started to blitz it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that the content marketing game is not a zero-sum game. You actually have to build it one brick at a time, one video at a time, one tweet at a time, until you actually have a body of work that creates so much trust that they're going to buy off you over the phone, which is what you've just mentioned. So, so what's the future for, you mentioned part of it. Let's just wrapping up here. What do you think the future of business marketing, digital marketing is going to be? You've mentioned the thing about it's moving much more into a paid task and tactic. Where else do you think the future of search and digital marketing is over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think the future of marketing. So basically, I've always told my clients to think outside the box and think outside the location where they are located, and think about online business. Because with obviously you as you probably know what's going on with the whole world right now. Even years ago, I already advised my client to open online store, right? Online businesses, and now is become like even actually true than ever, that everyone needs to think about like a the different scenario, that when they're not restricted to one area anymore. So if you have skills that can be marketed, or products that can be marketed in more than one area, think about bigger picture and try to market yourself, like nationally or internationally, and try to focus more on content, building up your reputation and authority through your content, so people can find you from all sort of different corners of this world. I got clients from all around the world. They came to us.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter where you're located, people come to you. So I think online business, or it will be the future of digital marketing.
Right. Yeah, I think that's great words and great advice. So just to wrap this up, what are 2 or 3 things that you would recommend to businesses to do their digital marketing or marketing the best way possible? What would be 2 or 3 top tips that you would like to leave us with today?
So when it comes to digital marketing, I think let's start with your website. Website is the foundation of all this. It's like a digital marketing hub. So it's very important part of your digital marketing strategy or activity. So having a great website. So don't just be try to save some cost by using some platforms. Like I know some people trying to save some cost of Wix and stuff like that, but those kind of website you can't really build a custom feature and project the professional image that you want to be. So invest in your website content, use real images instead of stock images, which we use. You never want to use stock images. So be authentic, and that's very important part of being successful in the online world, because there's so many millions of websites out there. But if you come across that authentic and true to yourself, people will appreciate that and trust you more. With the online world, it's all about building trust, right? So having a great website, content, again, is important. Content marketing, content here comes with different formats. You can I think should be more proactive with with videos, which is, like, as I said, a very important part of the digital and marketing strategy. And that's how you can connect with your prospects. And when it comes to running a business or digital marketing, it's always changing, and
Mm-hmm.
be prepared to learn different skills, once, because things are going to change a lot, and you have to prepare yourself to learn and continuously evolve, in order to thrive in this world. I always tell people that in order to thrive in this nowadays world, you need to bring your whole self to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really just like think that, oh, be limited to a certain skill. You have to actually learn a lot. I myself actually have to learn from doing how to do, like a, before, when I started, I just like started out doing marketing business, and then I have to take my MBA in order to do business consulting. And then in order to do digital marketing, I had to learn how to design and build a website, how to do SEO and Google Ads. And now I have people doing all that for me with my team. And now I have to learn how to build up this process and system for the team to follow. And then with the online marketing, online business, I need to, build up the skills in, how to produce video marketing, video content, and how to be a great writer, public speaking skills, all these skills, soft skills that you might not think that, well, I don't need at the moment, but actually that's a skill that's going to help you to get to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the key is you need to know what you want to do and who you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
And once you got it, make it happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
And focus on your own game and believe that you can do the impossible.
Mm-hmm.
9 years ago, when I came to Australia as a poor student and immigrant, not even my craziest dream, I would think that I could build a 7-figure income business and be mortgage free in my 30s. But I believe that you can achieve anything you want if you set your mind to. And finally, join the 5 a.m. club, and it will change your life forever for the better.
Okay, that's great advice, Wen. And it's been, you are such an inspiration, especially for anyone, and especially for women, and especially for immigrants that can make it on the other side of the world. You are a shining example of what can be done with persistence and courage. And thank you very much for sharing your story today. So just to finish up, there, how can, if people want to find you, what's the best place to find you?
I think the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, to be honest. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you search my name and you see my profile popping up, and you see a lot of interesting videos that I'm producing. Mm-hmm. And you see how I integrating not just video, but also my acting skill, my comedy skills, and my writing skill, my direction, like video direction skills in there. And I put a lot of effort into producing this video. So yeah, I hope to catch up with you guys over LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for that. And what I'll do is I'll include your LinkedIn profile as a link in the show notes, so everyone will be able to find you easily. Right, thanks, Wen. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to catching up in real life soon. Maybe over some bubbles. I know you like a few bubbles and a bit of champagne, so but not too much. Just a bit.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me today, and really appreciate the time that you interviewed me, and also the friendship that we have over the last 8 years. Can you believe it? 8 years already I known you. And you always been my great inspiration, especially you told me all the stories when you started, and you actually not just join 5 a.m., you join 4 a.m. club. So let's see how successful you are. So I guess that the earlier you get up, the more successful you are.
it gets a little bit harder as you get older, frankly, but that's okay. All right. Thanks, Wen. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much, and see you again. Yeah. Bye.